Hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial on how to add a mosaic blur to your footage. This is really common if you want to blur out people's faces is one example, or alternatively if you wanted to blur out a logo. And I'm going to be showing you guys two different ways to do this. One just using a circle that we track to blur everything, and then the other way is if we're using if you're blurring out a funky shape and you want to blur that out. So also something important to note for the rest of this video is you will need the paid version of Resolve because we are going to be using some of the AI features that are built into that version. All right, so first thing that you're going to want to do is just drag your footage into the timeline. And in this shot, let's say that you're one of these people in front and you don't want these people behind you to have their faces in your video clip. This is a very easy thing to do. And in order to do this, we are going to be primarily working in the color page. So you guys are going to just click on over to the color page. And the first thing that you guys are going to want to do is add a serial node. There is a couple ways to do this. One way is to right click and say add node, and then we're going to click add serial. All right, so you have your second node there, and we're going to be doing all these corrections in the second node. Another way to do this, I'm working on Mac, is to just go Option S and it adds your serial node. So again, let's say we want to track this man's face right here. In order to do that, we are going to jump over into the window section, and this allows us to draw a shape around pretty much anything that we want. In this case, we're going to be drawing a shape around the man's face. All right, and so a face is pretty circular, so I'm just going to grab the circular window right here and I'm going to click on it. All right, and then you can see we have this pop up in our video. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make some quick adjustments to make sure that this kind of matches the region that we want to blur. And so right now I have it hovering over the man's face, but the problem is this window is only going to work in this frame because the camera shot is moving. So how do we track it throughout the entire video? What you guys are going to want to do is come over here and click on the tracker. And if you guys see this little button here with like a forwards and a backwards arrow right on top of one another, this tracks our window forwards and backwards. And that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. And you guys can see we have Resolve tracking this video forwards and backwards. All right. So now if we scrub through our footage, we can see that he's tracked the entire time. And then the next thing that you guys are going to want to do is jump on over into the effects. And if this isn't open on your computer, that probably means the effects tab is not enabled. It should be in the upper right. You're going to click on it and the effects should appear. Now, under the library section, you have a whole bunch of different blurs here, but the one that we're most interested in today is the mosaic blur. Now, what you guys can do is just drag and drop the mosaic blur onto your serial node, the next node that you added, and look at that. We have wonderful mosaic blur and it's going forwards and backwards. I'm going to show you guys in the edit page so we don't have that window there. And look, now he is not there. You can't see his face. Let's say you want this to be even more pixelated though. How would you fix that? If you guys come back over here into the effects, the mosaic blur gives you a few different options. You can increase the pixel frequency, which is going to make it less pixelated, and then you can decrease it and make it extremely pixelated. Just really depends on what you like. And there are some other features in here too that you guys can mess around with if you want to. Now, like I said before, a common thing that people use the mosaic blur for is either blurring out faces or blurring out logos. And so in our next example, let's say you have a video clip of the Starbucks logo, or honestly just any logo, and you don't want to promote that in your video. What we're going to do this time is instead of using the circle, we're just going to draw a very specific shape around the Starbucks logo. Again, this isn't great because it does happen to be circular, but I want you guys to be able to do this if you're working with an irregular shape. So what we're going to do in this case is, again, we're back on the color page and we are going to just click on our footage. And remember, guys, we need to add our serial node. Now we're going to be working in this node and we're going to come back over to the windows and you are just going to click on this pen feature. All right. Now this allows you to directly draw an irregular shape within your footage. So again, if you guys were working with something that was not in fact a circle, this one's a little bit of a cut off circle. This is the tool that you would want to use. And then again, we're just going to go through the exact same steps. You're going to come to the tracker and you're just going to track this forwards and backwards. And then we're going to be doing the exact same thing and just dropping our mosaic blur on there. And I'm going to come back over to the edit page and you guys can see that we have now mosaic blurred out this logo and we have blurred out this man's face. I hope that was helpful and we'll see you in the next one.